Like my.
You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is a place we're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Another week in glorious Johnson County, Burleson, etc. You have Jennifer Woods here for the Harvest House. Taylor, you sound like you still got that allergy
I
thing
can't
working.
get rid of it.
Well, you know.
It's never going away.
Yeah, both these two are coming in there.
Benadryl.
Yeah.
I've been coughing since October. Everybody here knows that. Sorry.
Well, it's all right. It's just that time of year. It seems like this year's worse. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Mountain cedar,
because I normally don't get it that badly at all if I do, but this season I've gotten it. But as of today, God willing, I'll maybe past it. I don't know. We're going to talk about the new year for Harvest House, and also prior to the show, Jennifer's telling me about they're doing great business, which is kind of an interesting way of putting it, I suppose. I mean, you got more need than you've ever had before, which is a good thing, but also a worrisome sign.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll be talking about that and what's going on the next year, what kind of particular fundraisers they have ahead, how y'all can help, the status of the resale shop, and all these things. And then I'm going to be really busy. I am booked every day in January and first 2 days of February, because it's political season also.
Thanks for squeezing me in.
No problem. I have
a little bit of politics to talk about when we talk about the resale shop, so hey.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
That'll be fun.
All right, and then we'll ask your opinion about who we should vote for.
Nope.
No one ever goes for that.
You're
like Sabrina Daniels. Just no, don't even bring it up.
When I grew up, my mom was like, "You don't talk about it's nobody's business," and I agree with that.
Yeah,
it is nobody's business unless you want to share it.
Unless you want to share it here on Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
I will say I really like our current mayor.
Okay, well, good. I know he's been. Well, no, it's great.
Chris Fletcher's a great guy, and I just
well, that's good, and he's been involved with Harvest House from a long time.
Yes, he has. But even outside of that, he's just a really neat person.
Well, it's going to
be good human.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting race because we got Ronnie Johnson declared, and Ronnie's.
I don't know him at all. So
I've known him for 30 years, and I'm in the same position a lot of people are going to be in because you got two good guys running. Right. Yeah, and it's going to be. I don't have a vote since I live right outside the city, but there's going to be some people going to be torn, and that's
it's good and bad, right?
Oh, it's better to have a choice like that than two bums, and
right.
So which we had in presidential elections the last couple of, and so I'm all right, but okay, here we go. Come on, get the sound down, whatever. So, come on, you think I know how to do this by now? All right, let's talk about the sponsors that make all this fun possible. Thank you to Daniel. We're CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. They get the plans, they get the workout routines, they got the supervision and trainers, so they don't just say, go in there and start flinging iron around. You get the appropriate workout with appropriate programs and whatnot. I have several people that do this. I mean, they're a lot younger and better fit than I am, but they're really pretty enthusiastic about what goes on over there. It's CrossFit's kind of like a lifestyle, not just a workout kind of thing. So look at it up 317 on CrossFitBurleson.com. Boy, I haven't butchered that one up. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Trying to
mute yourself.
Well, that and trying to get get all the shares done. Okay, sorry, Daniel. All right, anyway, try better now, and I got that taken care of. Okay, the Stogstill group, Shandy Stogstill, she'll be on next week. That's why everybody screwed up. I thought she was today, and you were next week. But actually, it was the other way around. I just was doing this off the top of my rapidly deteriorating head, and so I thought Shandy will be on today, but she'll be on next Monday, and so I got y'all backwards. So, but it all worked out in the end. Here we are. Stogstill Group, if you're looking to move in and around the Burleson area, I talked to her about real estate stuff off the air, and it's very fascinating, because it's like having somebody on the inside to know what's going on, and it's very, very helpful. So if you're going to move in this area, this is the person you need to talk to. Also, Our Place, another big supporter of Harvest House, Otto, the celebrity that he is. I'll be seeing you later this week.
Is he going to talk about his Cleburne restaurant?
Well, I'm trying to hook him up a little bit. It's going to be coming soon, but I don't think they're quite open yet, but they're getting close. And when it does, we're going to, talk about it.
Let's have a remote over there.
Talk to Taylor.
Let's have a remote at our place.
Yeah, and he's thinking, let's see what we got. Okay. Yeah. That's what I
He
thought.
said, yeah.
Yep. With a little bit of a price, you know. He's not a nonprofit like you, dear. So I know.
Hey, you know what? That's not, the money is about somebody else getting it. Just, I want the food.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah. Our place.
Or have our place cater a show here.
Oh, that would work.
Well, he's been on the show a couple of times, and he always brings cookies
Okay, can
and
I be on the
pies.
same one?
Sure. Well, you're on a monthly basis now, so about
That'd be fun.
mid-February, I'll say, hey, y'all, why don't you come and you can
Bring
bring some
sandwiches, burgers.
chicken fried steak. I'd ask for.
I'd get that.
All right. Thank you also
Sorry,
to
Otto.
Chris at Wild Cigar and Culture. He's got the NFL playoffs is going to be his specialty this coming up. You know, tonight they got the Cowboys on, and I don't know, this may be your last chance to see the Cowboys for a while.
Let's not do what the Vikings did.
Whew, well,
I'm from Minnesota, so
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I know. Well, I'm not really surprised. Minnesota had problems, but I don't know. Did you? You know, these Viking fans seem to be pretty fanatical. I guess it's because you're snowed in 6 months out of the year, so all you got is to watch Vikings football. Is that how it works?
No, there's hockey.
Oh, there's hockey. Yeah.
Football's secondary.
Okay. But anyway, Wild Cigar and Culture over at Standard on Hidden Creek. They got all the ball games on this coming playoff season, so check it out. Also, thank you to I keep doing this. Tiffany. Tiffany Nico, Local Life Magazine. It's already out, and the next one will be out it's every first week of the month, and it's always there, and it's always great, and it always has nice local articles. I mean, it isn't just ads. It's also, you can read about your neighbors and fellow businesses. And also in the center of that magazine, they have all the events that are going on in the month, both with the city and with maybe other organizations, churches and whatnot. It's a really good outfit. Also, thank you. Now we can say thank you to Southern Gym. Boy, they were busy over Christmas. You know, my wife was working a lot of extra hours during the Christmas season. And what's interesting to me is Southern Gym is becoming a place where people know about more often. And Robin knows half the people that come in. And it's almost like a hometown thing. It's like, and some of the ladies come in, they talk about jewelry. It's like old men sitting around the barbershop, I guess. Have you been there before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, they're very good
Yes.
people.
Well, maybe the next time you're there, you'll see my wife. She works all the...
I have seen your wife.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ask her about the necklace. I bought her a necklace from there for Christmas, and she still shows it off.
Nice.
All right. Thank you also to Hot Works. I'll have Michelle on in about 2 weeks. Well, was it today is the 16th? Yeah, it's 2 weeks. And I talk with her not just about her Hot Works business, but she likes to talk about other things. You know, she said, "Hey, I just want to talk about stuff, current events or whatever, raising children, whatever." So it's always a nice rambling conversation. So over on 731, different kind of workout, 11 different kinds of workouts. It's very efficient, and it's less stress on your joints and your muscles. So check out Hot Works on 731 over by the theater. It's on John Jones. Also, my insurance agent, Melissa Harmon, 682-804-0534, Texas Farm Bureau. If you want to have your insurance audited, really have it checked out. Even if she can't help you, she'll tell you, but you got a free look at your insurance. But she was able to help me, save me some money. I was able to bump up my life insurance. My wife was very adamant that I bump up my life insurance. Why is that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I will tell you, Melissa is not my agent, but I have Texas Farm Bureau, and I cannot tell you how happy I am with them.
Well,
because you know what? It's a co-op,
Right.
so you're a member and you're a customer. So I think that really makes your experience amazing. I'm sure Melissa's amazing, and
She is. She knows all
I
about
literally just. Who says they love their insurance company? But I really do. I just have had great success with stuff.
Well, the previous one I had was USA, and they were okay. They're fine, and I had no real complaints. But when I showed my stuff to Melissa, she said, "Well, I could save you a few bucks here, and now this, and my monthly payments on my house payment went down about $65,
Nice.
and I still have upgraded coverage, so that helped.
Yeah.
$65 a month may not sound like a lot, but that's what $500 or $600 a year.
Yeah.
And so there you are. Also, we have this going on, a coat drive with Trinity Chiropractic. You know this? Okay.
Chase Dice is very, very generous. He's given to Beautiful Feet Ministry, which is another. I've worked with them with my church and stuff. Amazing homeless ministry. I have a bunch of coats I'm collecting. I need to get them over there ASAP.
Well, my wife's going to go with her too because all that standing and stooping over the counter and all that does kind of wear on her shoulders and neck. And so I said, let's do this and see how we can get you some treatment. You know, we're not young people anymore. She is young and beautiful, of course, but you know, I thought that was pretty good deal. He was on the show about a week ago, and I'll be seeing him again later this week, and then get an update, I guess.
Cool.
We're gonna have a little coffee and visit. But the coat drive over in Trinity Chiropractic, bring a coat, and you'll get an examination and a treatment and X-rays and consultation. And I don't know.
And I love Chase is really the real deal. He does this each year for different charities, and he is just very service minded, and it's just great. So go support him.
Okay.
And get feeling better, right? Here, I'll just help you with your ads.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I haven't been to him as a chiropractor, but I've worked with him, and he's just a really
No,
great guy.
I like it when the guests help out because, I've been to that store, or I eat there all the time, or
I've interacted with almost everybody there.
Yeah, and it's a good thing though, and that's why I like these sponsors, because not only are they, good business people and whatnot, they give back to the communities in so many different ways. Shandy's involved with the group, and Michelle does stuff, and every one of them does it. Every one I just mentioned has activities they do both with people like Harvest House or others like groups, or on their own.
Yep.
And we did that toy drive back in November. Almost all of them had a box in their business places to collect toys, and so that's just one of many examples. That's why, it's not like an elite group. When I have somebody to ask about being a sponsor, I do apply a standard. How will they fit in with the rest of the people?
Right.
In the sense of, not just what they provide as a service or product, but also what do they do for the community?
Right.
Well, anyway, back to you. This is it's all about you today.
All about me?
Yeah, all right.
Wow.
Now you mentioned before the show, January is usually a dead month, but it hasn't been so far.
No, normally we come off the holidays and it's pretty slow. And on Tuesday, so our average clients, let's say pre-COVID, we probably would serve 40 on a pretty high day. Post-COVID, it was 55 to 60. We had 97 on the Tuesday after, and I think that is a one-day high or close to it. And then we served 55 and 45. I mean, normally if you have a really high Tuesday, the other days are slower, and it just did not slow down. And so it's going to be a really interesting 2023 because that's unusual. What we're going to see with that is we're going to have to, we have resources to buy food at a highly discounted rate. So we did get great, amazing food drives from the schools. I mean, that was, and the community partners and the businesses. It was absolutely amazing. I never got the final number, but it's amazing. It was more normally we get around 50,000 pounds. I would bet it was pretty close to that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, it's a lot of food.
Yeah.
But that was great. So we'll be working off that, and that's amazing. But some of the fresher foods and stuff like that. Now, right now, Harvest House is under construction. We got an ARPA grant, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, and it's COVID funds. Because since COVID, there's a lot of organizations like ours that were impacted that our numbers went up. So in order to do that, we're expanding our pantry. Making some education space, which will be so fun because it'll be like a conference area that people can have meetings in. We can have education, whatever. So everything right now is drive-through. Now, if somebody has a special need, we will still accommodate that with some selection. So we give them a piece of paper so they can kind of choice select, I don't eat green beans, but I do want this. So for the most part, it's a bit of a standard box, but we allow them to pick a little bit of what they might need, or I really don't eat that, so don't give it to me because that would be a waste. So that's what we're doing right now. While we finish our construction, we should be done no later than the end of February, probably earlier, but I wouldn't expect for people to come back in until probably right around spring break, just so it's easier to have a real strong set date like that.
Like a big grand opening or reopening or whatever.
Yeah, because we're going to change some processes. And so we're working on that. I think our clients are going to love it. A lot more independence in shopping and just a real different experience, but we're working out the kinks on that before we announce exactly what that's going to be.
Well, I talked to Debbie Beeman at Promises. I'm sure you're close, closely associated with them.
Absolutely. Debbie's fabulous.
And she was talking about the dignity of shopping, and that's what you're trying to do for Harvest House. The idea of, as opposed to here's a box of grub, you go in there
Yes.
and you self-select, and you know, and it seems to be a bit more. It takes some of the stigma, if you will. I know a lot of people, in my age in particular, they'd probably go in there in disguise because they don't want people to know that they're having to do this.
Absolutely. Especially men. I mean, honestly, especially men. Most of the women come in, but we want men to feel like they can come in. And we've been a choice shopping experience forever. Sometimes we've had a day or something. Right now, this is just temporary, but even still, we're trying to allow some choice just because we think it's important. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what 2023 brings.
Now, in this new format, you're going to have expanded refrigerated and freezer items in it, right?
So right now, I think I'm $15,000 short, I will say that, on a walk-in refrigerator, which will allow us to take pallets of food, pallets of non-frozen foods like milk and eggs and things like that. So if anybody has the inclination to, I just need
where's
an
my
extra
checkbook?
50. There are amazingly generous people out there who can and do that. So I'm going to say, if God puts it on your heart, whether it's $1 or $15,000, that's where we're at. We got $10,000 grant from HMS Host. So when you go to the airport and they have these little containers that say HMS Host Foundation.
I guess it's been a while.
Do. You know what? I never really noticed it until after we got these funds. But I'm like, okay, I'll give to you now because they really do give to nonprofits, and they gave us $10,000 towards a walk-in refrigerator. So I'm about halfway there, and really hoping we can get that done by the end of February.
You gonna have like a special drive or notice or whatnot?
Now we've written a couple of grants for it, but yeah, we'll.
Well, I'll tell you what you need to do then. If you have a logo or something that Taylor could put up on the screen, we could throw it in along with Dr. Dias's little ad for the coats.
That's a
because that's how we
great idea.
do. Yeah, so send us some stuff. We'll throw it on there until you get that 15 grand.
I will do it.
Because to be honest, I'm expecting a big month in January because it's going to be political season coming up, and I have some people coming on, and it's going to. So you might get more attention than you would normally.
That's great. And if we got more than 15, it would just go back into our pantry for new shelving and all. I mean, there's so many needs we have; they never end. I mean, that's the unfortunate thing is that needs never end.
Well, let's do that because
I'll do that today or tomorrow probably.
And I have Megan over to Next Step coming on in about 2 weeks, and I think they have some sort of special goal.
Yeah,
that's part of the purpose of the show. It's not just to help me pay my car payments.
Yeah,
but it's
that helps, right?
It does help, but it also it's $15,000. It would be nice to be able to write that kind of check, and if you had that kind of money, then God bless you. You've been blessed.
We have been blessed.
Yeah, and I bet you next time we do this, you usually come on once a month. I bet the next time we do it, you'll have the money.
I bet we will.
And because I'm sure you've had these kind of situations before, because we were talking about also what you need is another vehicle, right?
Yeah, we need a box truck and a pickup truck, really, but the box truck is the most important of the things that we need.
But that probably is further down the list of priorities.
Yeah, that's like about $80,000.
No problem. Yeah.
And that's for a used one. I mean, we were even kind of looking at leases just because some of the leases pay for the maintenance, and that's really the thing because I think we had like $17,000 worth of maintenance on our box truck last year.
That's a lot.
It is a lot because you have to rent one in order to get it fixed, and when parts are not available, then you wait. Oh, it was not how we normally spend our money. I can tell you that. So we're really, as a board, having to look back and say, okay, what are we going to do? So, right now we got to finish our building and then get that walk-in refrigerator, then get our driveway, then the truck will be next. Everybody wants us to pick up their stuff too. We have to have 2 trucks to do that.
Yeah.
That would be the older truck would be responsible for that because, food needs to be able to get delivered. So that's most important.
Well, I'm sure like at the beginning of the year, you say, okay, here's our wish list. And I'm sure that's a sobering list because you say, my goodness, it's a lot of need to be asking for money-wise and otherwise.
It is. And everybody works hard for their dollar. And, it's something I'm trying to teach my 14-year-old. She's really not getting that. She's like, well, I need this. And I'm like, you don't. She's like, I don't have any clothes. I'm like, we walk into her closet. I'm like, no. Because I'm like, if you think, let's say you make $20 an hour. Okay. There's a lot of people who make $20 an hour. So if you go and you donate $20, that's 1 hour of your life that you said, you know what? That time was worth giving to this organization or this cause, whatever I don't care how much money you make, but you've put hard-earned time into that, and people don't always think about there's a cash value in some ways, to your life, and so you want to spend it wisely. So when we're off throwing our money away, you got to kind of go, was that worth $30 of my life? I mean, it's kind of a funny way to look at it, but it's
No,
real. And so when
yeah.
you're giving to a nonprofit, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I genuinely love it. I mean, there's a lady who gives $10 a month. And I am guessing it's a sacrificial gift. And I love it because I know God does great things with the sacrificial gifts.
Well, it's one of my most touching stories in the scripture. One that really touches me is the widow's mites. The older lady throws in a couple of pieces of copper, and Christ says that lady gave more than any of these other bums.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
And if you have one widow giving $10, another one giving $10, another person giving $10, they add up.
It does. And so that actually is an interesting, good segue. So you were asking me earlier about our sponsorships for this year. So we're going to do our Vineyard Vibes event April 23rd, 2023 here at Lost Oak Winery again.
Ah, yes.
Super excited. We're working on our artists. Some of them we're working on a pretty big name. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that. He's interested. He's working with his managers to see if he can do it.
So you want to keep that secret till then?
Yes,
Okay.
because he hasn't said yes. And then
Okay.
we've got some other well-known artists in the area that we love that we've reached out to. So hopefully it's going to be an amazing lineup. And then we're going to reinvent our harvest feast. It's going to be a little bit different. Don't have details on that yet, but be looking for a luncheon and not a dinner. But I'm really excited about it. But how we're doing our sponsorships and stuff this year, again, I should have the finals by next week, but we really want you to support our mission. So it's a mission sponsorship this year. If you're a $10,000 mission sponsor, we'll be sharing with you what your $10,000 is going to do to help families this year. And, you'll be invited to our events, but this is really about making sure that this organization has what we need, because we have found that our donors who are sponsors, really, their heart isn't to go to an event. Their heart is to help the people in our
Right.
community. So we're just adjusting how we do what we're going to do, and we will have the same sponsorship levels. But, let's say you want to just do $120 sponsorship, and you want to pledge that and you want to pay it out $10 a month. That's how it got me thinking about it. $10 a month is $120 a year, and you don't always think about that. You may not have $120 to give, but you can do it at $10 a month, and you can be listed as a sponsor on our sponsorship stuff. So it's going to be an exciting year. I'm hoping that it really resonates with the community, because really what we have found is that the people who support us don't want the accolades. And so when we tie too many accolades to it, they kind of don't want to give. And we've really seen that. And so we're...
Really, I would just say, here's the money, but I don't need my name up there.
And they do, but it's different. And there's a lot of big companies, like the hospitals that need it. Great. So we're just trying to accommodate really what this community is about. And it's about not, left hand, right hand, not knowing what the other's doing. And we'll be having those details. I will have that by next month.
Okay.
And the sponsorships and stuff. But if people are interested right now, they can reach out to me. It's Jennifer@yourharvesthouse.org. And I will get those details to you, because I'll have them by the end of the week.
Okay.
We're just in the final stages of modifying our sponsorship form and getting all those details in order.
Well, having the accolades is kind of like a two-sided thing. You want to do it with modesty. You want to do it, because for the right reasons, with humility. But also it helps for people to see other people in their community doing this.
Yep.
XYZ companies doing this, and and it's good for XYZ
Well, and so that's
company,
where it's like businesses and individuals. So it's just a...
Well, it's good to see, the kind of company you're keeping, so to speak.
Right.
Kind of like I was mentioning with the sponsors, they do all these good things for the community, and they don't really want to have everybody come up and pat them on the back, and all. They do it quietly and on their own. But it does, I think it uplifts the whole community to know that these businesses and these sponsors are contributing to your community as well. And you're not, and if you feel like you're doing it by yourself or whatever, this is a good way to say, no, I am in the same category as all these other really dedicated servants.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how I look at it. It's not just the notoriety, it's how you respond to it,
I agree.
with humility, instead
Totally
of like,
agree.
well, like, I'm a big shot, I can give all this money.
I'm a big shot. I can't give you any money. I can't give you any money, but I'm a big shot. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, here's a drill though. If they want to be a big shot and give you money, you'll take the money.
Oh, heck yeah. Brad Allard, $10,000. There you go.
Yeah, so put it on that billboard, that electronic one on the highway,
Right.
which, the Lord says, well, he got his reward in full.
That's right.
And so,
That's right.
But anyway, that's
good.
when they start that truck thing really has me intrigued because at $80,000 at the least, that's going to be a pull. And even with some grant money, you're still going to, that sounds like a big time summertime project or whatever. A lot I talk to these other nonprofits, including yours, it seems like you have like a drive towards a certain end,
Yeah. And you really, and the thing is, when you're a nonprofit, you have to prioritize what's most important. Our truck is running good right now. It's something we got to look for probably in a year. Well, we pretty much rebuilt it last year. So, if it goes wrong, it should be under warranty at this point. But even beyond that, we have to be careful of what we're asking for because, like I was saying, we believe and know that everybody's dollar matters and they've worked hard for it. So we don't want to be wasteful. That truck that we did put $17,000 into us was given to us. So like to put $17,000 in something that would cost me $80,000 to replace, you kind of go, that's not a bad investment. You know what I mean? So you have to look at it that way too. But we've got a lot going on because we're going to, be having new offices and needing to furnish them and all that. But we'll just use what we got for now and keep going.
Well, you kind of go back to something else you mentioned.
Yeah.
You talked about the elevated need. You had like 97, 98 on a day. You normally don't get half that. And then you're still at elevated levels all the way through the week and up to now. Why do you think that's happening? What are they telling you?
Definitely. Well, actually, I've asked our clients to let them know. I don't know at this point. I think some pantries aren't serving as frequently as they were before, is what I'm hearing so far. We're going to call and find out if that's a permanent thing or a temporary thing. But regardless, if they're coming to us, they were going somewhere else. So that number is still there. And those are our community members. So, the need for financial assistance is really great. Especially housing. I mean, mostly what we're seeing now are people struggling to stay in their houses, with taxes up and the cost of living up so much, people are struggling to pay rent and mortgage more than ever. Like many have said, we do not have a homeless crisis. We have an affordable housing crisis. And housing has gotten to a place, I mean, a small $1,300 house is $300,000 practically right now. $250, $295. A house that when I bought that same size or bigger was only $100,000. 20 years ago. That's significant, and people are underemployed. They're making $15 an hour, but I don't know what that is annually, but it's not that much.
Not that much.
It isn't. It's not a livable wage. And what happens is, we're facing this as a nonprofit, having to increase our pay to get qualified people. But what gets cut from it? We haven't had to do anything so far, but that cuts into our services and stuff too. You got to have money to pay people, you got to have money to feed people, you got to all of it. So it's what
gets to me a little bit, and this is my political comment, is that when people tell us in the media, well, inflation's coming down and this is getting better, I'm not feeling it. All right, when I go to the grocery store, it's still high, and then I talk to people that have bought a house in the last few years, and how difficult it is to maintain that house. Not just to pay the mortgage, but also
have the fence fixed.
Yeah, there you go. I was thinking the roof,
call a plumber, get a roof. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you talk to the roofers, and they'll say you try to get shingles these days. I have a friend that's in the roofing business. He says trying to get shingles is like pulling teeth. And. So all these things are happening, and
I do wonder about supply chain. Just to be a little conspiracy theorist, like really, how is this still 3 years later, still issues? But I didn't mean to open that can of worms today.
I'll take care of the politics on one of my other shows.
Answer that question on a different day, because I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Well, it is tough. So I guess when I think of the Harvest House, my first thought is food. All right. And I know you do financial assistance, but I guess that's not the primary thing I think of the Harvest House. I think of going to your place and getting fed and whatnot. And what you're telling me, it sounds like, well, groceries still high in demand, but you're getting more and more need for rent assistance or paying the utility bill or the car payment that month or whatever else.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, it's skyrocketed, and there are amounts that you're like, are you kidding me? And there's a lot of people we can't help because they're in too deep. There's nothing we can do. So we encourage people, whether you come to us or somewhere else, talk to your mortgage company before it gets really bad. There's mortgage modifications. There's all kinds of things that your mortgage company can do to help you before you get lost and afraid of losing it all. There are things to do to not lose your house.
Well, that's what Shandy and I talk about when she's on the show. She gets us all this information about the rates and what it means and what's happening. And she tells us, well, here's where the problems are trying to find a house of a certain size. And it's tough, and I know that we're building here in Burleson as much as we can, but it's increasing the supply of housing isn't like just ratcheting up the widget machine. It takes a long time for the supply to catch up to the demand. And right now,
I was reading an article the other day just on people moving in the United States, and Texas is the highest.
Oh yeah, I read that article too.
In the United States, the South is the highest.
It's God's country.
But, especially Texas. But, because of that, it's impacting and making it harder here. And I'm not saying people shouldn't come. I'm one of those that came 25 years ago. So I'm one who came from up north and whatever. But, so it's challenging.
It is. And it's impacting our community. And I've talked with people on city council, the mayor, Victoria, whom I have next week, that's a little plug or whatever. But I've talked to people that are in a position to have access to this information and maybe in some indirect way try to help it. And they're like, man, this is a hard problem because the demand is so much outstripping the supply, and it's causing the prices of all this to rise. And then you impact it with the interest rate increases. It's a real problem for us here. And one of the questions I'll be asking any political candidate I have on the show is, what are we going to do about it as a community?
Yeah.
What do you think we need to do? More affordable housing? Do you think we need?
Oh, for sure.
But apartments. That's like a dirty word to some people.
I don't even know if it has to be apartments, but something affordable. And I don't know what that looks like. I am not in development and stuff, but we talk about homeless. How many people are living in cars? In Burleson, it's a lot of people living in cars. Yes, we're starting to see them more living on the streets, or they're house hopping. Homelessness, and I've said it before, is somebody who doesn't have a permanent home. It's not necessarily just you're living on the street. But
Larry Scott has something about an organization.
211 Texas. We're part of 211 Texas.
Yes, 211texas.org has resources to assist citizens. You can also call 211. You can also call 211.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's an organization. We're one of those people that when you call that, they like in this area, they'll refer you to us or another organization in our area. It's through United Way. It's definitely a great resource.
Well, Larry was on last Thursday, and where he announced he's running for city council. And one of the things that we talked about was multifamily housing, affordable housing.
Yep.
And I'm confident that he's aware of the situation and he understands how difficult it is. And so
we've been tracking numbers, and it's one of those things that it's my intention to share with the mayor, just so they have it. How many homeless are we interacting with here?
Well, maybe the next time you're here, can you bring that information if you have it?
Yeah.
And share it here on this platform?
Yeah.
That'd be great, because a lot of people, they think of it in general terms, but when you have hard numbers in front of you, it really makes it more real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and you see what's happening around not just Burleson, but all over Tarrant County. You've seen a lot of people in the corners.
All over the country. Honestly, it's everywhere. I was in Alaska last month, and I don't always give cash to people. I just don't. But when it's 35 below and somebody's standing out there with a sign, can I just tell you, you're getting some of my money, because you just think, wow, how hard would that be? And you think it's hard in Texas, but
Larry's also put up the webpage on our show.
I didn't know about that webpage. Nobody shared that with me. That's awesome. Thank you, Larry.
Okay, so it's burlesontx.com/homelessness. Thank you, Larry.
Definitely going to look at that. I
Now
have
you
not.
see why I endorse him for city council. This guy knows what's going on.
Nice job, Larry. I
Yeah.
can't wait to meet you. I don't know you.
Well,
So,
he's
it's exciting.
I've met them in the last couple of months. Sherry Scott's the one that does those blessing boxes.
Oh, great.
You know, so-
okay. Oh, excellent. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah. So y'all.
I
get
definitely
there.
want to meet you, Larry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then it's but this is a real problem for like you say, you drive by and you see these people and you want to help on one end, but you also, am I enabling or am I getting scammed on the other end? And so,
I don't worry about getting scammed because
Well-
you know what? That's just really not between me and them. But like for Harvest House, we want people to come so we can help find solutions.
mhm.
You know, and I don't think it's bad to. I generally don't give out cash. I generally give out, like, we have bags in my car with the washcloth and food and
Yeah.
snacks and drinks and stuff like that you can hand somebody. And I like that because, but I also try to have my business card that I can give them because if I'm helping somebody in the Burleson area, I want them to know that they can come to Harvest House and we want to try to help them as much as possible.
Well, it's a tough call, and I'm sure with the processes you have, or like Promises have, or other groups like y'all's have, I'm sure you catch a scammer every now and then. But most people, I would think, probably don't come to you to try to scam you
You're
because
absolutely right. There's,
No.
I don't care what you do. There's somebody
Yeah.
who's not good in it.
yeah,
Whether in any occupation,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere in the world, you're going to find people who are scamming. But you know what? It is a small number.
Right.
Because the reality is there are so many, it's just small.
well, you have safeguards and processes in place.
We do.
Plus, I just think it's different if you're going to be like a routine client, and you're not going to want to abuse that relationship.
You know, one number that was really exciting to me though. So like over the years, we track our clients and we're able to find out who comes, who returns. So our numbers, we served 12,000, I can't remember how many assistances and stuff we provided last year, but 2,200 of our clients did not return that had been there previously. So our hope is that these resources have helped them to get independent, to get out of the need for us. Maybe they got jobs because that's part of what we do is connect them to different places. But we had 2,200 people not return last year. And that was exciting. We call that graduating.
Yeah, well, sure.
So, and that was exciting.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is that if you're going to go to an institution like yours, you're going there for real help. You're not looking to rip people off. If you're trying to, there are easier ways to rip people off than go to y'all.
There are easier places to go
Yeah.
to rip people off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because there's a lot of people like, sure, no problem, we'll help you.
Yeah.
No, we have some pretty, and I know some people don't like that, and we have tightened up even over the last few years because we've seen more people that want to take advantage. But, we do it because we got to be good stewards of the dollars given to us. I mean, ultimately, we're responsible for every dollar given to us. And so there are times we say no, and if it's not going to help in the best way, then we try to save those dollars. We really, really try hard to be good with our dollars.
Well, and not everybody has a family structure that we do.
Yep.
Because I've gone through some times, where I may have been a client of yours. Not God, thank you, Lord, not any time in my recent past, but when I was much younger.
Yeah.
But I had people around me to help me out, and not everybody has that.
That's right.
When I was in college, for example, when I was going through my second run of college, UTA, when I was getting my teaching certificate. I mean, there was a lot of cornbread and beans and stuff like
Right.
that. But I had enough people that it just seemed like at the right time they'd say, "Oh, I made this extra roast. I don't need it here. Thanks, Mom," or something like that. Well,
Right.
not everybody has that.
Yep. It's
And so
true.
y'all are stepping in the breach here for a lot of
Yeah.
people, and we as a community are blessed by that, and we're blessed that we have like institutions all over this
Absolutely.
town like that. I've really become quite more aware in the last couple of years in particular as the show has grown slowly. It hasn't gone viral, which is fine. But as it's expanded, I've gotten, wow, we have a lot of people in this town that really put a lot of effort into helping
Yep.
our community. It's amazing to me.
It's very
I don't know if every community has that.
I don't think so. I go to other places and I'm amazed to go, how come during COVID, your city council or your economic development group didn't keep your small businesses alive? And it's not just the economic development team. It's like the whole community said, hey, we want to save our community. And we didn't have the closures. We didn't. But that's just an example of what already was. There's in Daniel, I just think about this in the Bible where when he was, told that he was going to eat he said he wanted to go vegetarian, vegan,
Right.
whatever,
Well, it's not because of.
But I know, but no. Let me finish. But when
right.
when he made that choice not to take the fine foods, and when all that came about, or when he was going to go into the lion's den, he just prayed as he always did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about this community, like they respond as they always do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing something different. It's just what's done. That's the character of this community. As a whole, you got some bad apples, but you have bad apples everywhere, right?
Well,
Didn't we
I
just
think
talk
we
about
have, I
that?
think we have fewer percentage-wise than say other communities, because sometimes we get a little locked in our own little world, and we think, man, there's a couple of nuts in this joint, and then you go to other towns and say the nuts are running this joint,
Right.
It's a lot different.
That's right.
And
Yep.
I hear about these other communities, I read about them, or I have friends in other ones, and I'm like, you think that's an issue? You should see what our guys did,
Yep.
or these other, so,
agree.
we're fortunate, and I'm hoping in this election that we have a good, robust election based on issues and philosophies, and all the other crap can stay home.
I hope so too.
I think it's going to happen. I think people got a shock in the last couple elections we had,
Yeah.
and they said we don't want that.
Right.
And we
I hope so.
we don't want people in position to bring that. So I think I feel pretty optimistic we're going to have an appropriate election.
I hope so.
And so that's where people, they may criticize their opponent's policies, but they're not going to criticize their opponent. And
Right.
there's a big difference in that.
Yep.
Anyway, that's just another one of my little off the record things. But anyway, now as far as the resale shop,
I'm glad that was a good segue because I was
Yeah.
like, there is something I need to talk about with
Yeah.
the resale
Yeah,
shop.
okay.
Okay, and it's a little bit political.
Well, that's
not
fine.
really political,
Okay,
but
yeah,
it is.
it's fine.
So, just like this community,
Mm-hmm.
we do not like the after hours donations because it's not really a donation. If you leave it after hours, it's called dumping.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, it was covered. It was behind a fence. Nobody could see it. But I know at the last city council meeting, it was brought up. And people and we have signs everywhere that say we cannot take donations after hours. People will start getting fined for dumping.
Mm-hmm.
We have to report it because they're going to end up shutting us down if we can't get this under control. Nobody's threatened that. I'm not saying that. But I mean, this is not us being a good neighbor if we can't get this under control. And the only way to do that is, the police are going to have to get involved, and they are going to have to start ticketing people for dumping. And I believe the state code is up to $10,000 fine. I'm not saying that's what they would be code. I don't know. I'd have to look at the city code. It's on our window right by where you leave your stuff after hours. But we've had residents go to the city council. Code enforcement calls me. The police call me. We have to get this under control. And we don't want to have to turn people over. But the reality is we can't continue to have this. It's an eyesore. We work so hard to, make this community a better place. And we can't put up a fence there. That's even worse, but yeah.
Sharon Sutter is asking you, do you guys still have those
That's
collection
against
boxes?
city code for the collection boxes. So we
There.
can't have the collection boxes because, again, that's against city code. We did have them. We had to remove them. So basically the solution is no after hours donations. And we extended our hours. We're there till 7. We accept the donations till 6:30 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we accept donations until 3:30 on Wednesday and Saturday, and we are closed on Sunday. So, we have much more extended hours than we ever have. We are doing our best, and we are trying to be good neighbors and follow city code and follow the rules and do all of that. So, yes, Shannon, I understand. We did have them initially and did have to remove them.
Well, I remember back in the day, they also, besides y'all's, had Goodwill boxes and whatever else, and now I haven't seen them in a long time. But
Well, and they're around, but it's my understanding that any donation box you see around is actually illegal.
well, I haven't seen them,
I
but-
guess people haven't complained to have them removed because a lot of times they put them on people's property that don't have permission also.
Oh my, that's not being a good neighbor.
It's not being a good neighbor, but and for us as an organization, we do not want to have people getting ticketed for trying to donate. So we just need people to stay within the guidelines. And as a nonprofit, our salaries can only go so far. I would love to be open later. I would love to be open longer. I'd love to be open on Sundays, but I have to have, again, it goes back to donations because I can't, I just have a salary limit. I can't keep hiring more people. And I know there's some volunteer elements, but even with that, there has to be some supervision, and you have to have volunteers who can do these things. But there has to be somebody who's in charge. And generally, that's still a person who's paid. I know there are nonprofits who run fully by volunteers. It's unless you find that a really special volunteer, you can't just turn it over to them. I would love to. They're super helpful. We cannot do it without them. We have so many volunteers. It's very exciting. But the reality is I can't just keep hiring more people and be good stewards. So that's why our hours are what they are. We extended them significantly. We used to close at 4, and now we're open till 6:30. We open on Mondays. We've done everything we can at this point. Maybe at another point we would like to be open on Sundays, potentially at least for a few hours to receive donations. I understand, the garage sale thing. People have garage sales and stuff. So that's what we're working on.
Well,
those are some long-term things that we have to. They're just I can't do it today. We're in the process of. Right now I'm focusing on our main building. There's just a lot of things that have to get done. And so we have to prioritize. While that's a top priority, it's not the top priority.
Did you ever have a big flashy grand opening for the resale shop?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And how did that go?
It went really well. It really did good.
I must have missed it, or when was it?
It was the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. I must have been inattentive then, but yeah.
Yeah, we had a ribbon cutting, and then we had a whole week of grand opening specials and sales through the first week of December.
Okay, now I remember that. I remember you had specials going on, and in fact, my wife went to your store and found a jar, a piece of glassware that for a really good bargain price. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
I wonder if it was my mother-in-law. She accidentally donated all of her mother's crystal.
I bet my wife picked up some of that.
She may have, and my mother-in-law ended up finding one piece, and she was happy. But I was just like, it really broke her heart. She didn't mean to.
Oh, okay.
It happens all the time. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. So, but people think of donations. They think of clothes and food, but you have all sorts of stuff. Like I'm talking to you earlier, we're going to probably bring you a piece of exercise equipment that we're no longer using.
Our furniture, if you checked every day, you would see different stuff every day. We have people donate amazing furniture. It's beautiful, and it sells really fast. So,
well, I teach a lot of young people at Hill and at DBU too, but they're not really in this area. But I still have contacts with a lot of 19, 20, 21-year-olds or mid-20s. And I have sent them to y'all for furniture.
People donate really nice stuff.
Yeah,
well,
so
I know you did too, but there's couch sets, and I'm like, if I hadn't just bought one, I would buy this because it is so nice. We sold.
Well, we gave a couch. About 6 months ago.
I remember,
and it was a good piece of furniture, and I remember paying for it too. But I'm just saying, people shouldn't think of this as a thrift shop, and you're going to buy some barely put together table or whatever. There's some nice furniture.
Occasionally
in there.
we get that, but for the most part, the stuff is really nice because people donate nice stuff, and it's neat because people are so blessed. Like you're saying, there's a lot of people who couldn't afford that. That it really blesses them, and they're able to have nice furniture. Whether it's a college student or we talk about the cost of living. Well, you got to furnish it.
Right.
I remember back in, it must have been the late 90s. I remember a big thing where people were buying these monster houses and they were empty because they couldn't furnish them. So these huge mortgages, I remember my mom talking about that, but they were half empty houses,
Well, I've sent some students there. They said they need a bed for a kid, or they need something for their living room, or they're moving into an apartment and they don't have these things, and they don't have kitchen gear. They don't have pots and pans.
We have great stuff, and I'm going to tell you, I have replaced most of my kitchenware through Harvest House with Pampered Chef and all these really nice brand names. And I've gotten rid of my junk, and I've paid less. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So you come to my kitchen, I got nice stuff, but it's not because I bought it new.
I tell you what you had to do next time. Before you're going to be on probably about mid-February, roughly.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a date when we get there. But maybe you ought to take your phone video.
I can do
and
video.
It goes through the store.
I'd love to, yeah.
And we'll show it. So
I'll do the same thing with our construction project because
Sure.
we will be far along by then. And I'm excited to show you the pantry. We just expanded, like we took out a wall and it's so much
Well, it's
bigger. It's going to be great.
It may be you look a little bit homemade, but we're a hometown podcast, so there you go.
It's not homemade. Oh, my video?
Your video. That's what I meant. But
I'm a professional. Okay, I'm married to a professional.
Oh, well, okay. That's fine,
I don't
too.
know that I can get into it.
Yeah. Well, these videographers and podcast creators and whatever else, how difficult they are. And, yeah, he's going to mute us.
And that's why we have the mute button.
There we go. But oh, he did. He muted me. Thank you very much. All right.
But I got to tell you, these videographers, I mean, I'm going to do a little shout out because people think, oh, their job is so easy.
No,
it is not. I'm married to one, and the number of hours to edit a video or a picture or audio, it's hours. So people are like, well, I don't want to spend that much. Well, they work so hard. So I'm just giving you a shout out, Taylor, because I watched it and I'm amazed. It's really it's fun to watch them like edit and put this story together. I don't know. It's really cool. You're like, how did you take this junk video and make this beautiful
Now, I've seen Taylor's work. He really does good work. And so that's a shout out to him and Local Legends. And so they make me look good. Of course, how hard is that? I mean, but still.
We're entitled to his opinion. Remember, Taylor?
Yep.
Well, anyway, we're coming close to the end. So when you come back on, I'd like to see some of the videos. So
yeah, I'll bring some video and stuff like that. We've got a few things that I can bring.
And like I said earlier, if you have some sort of display or whatever about your current drive, what is and again? Remind the folks who may just come out at the end of the show what we're talking about.
So we're going to be
for
having
the freezer, right?
Well, we got a number of things. So we need about $15,000 for a freezer. And then we're also going to be doing our sponsorships for Harvest House for the year, which includes attendance at our events if that's what you wish. But it's going to be a great year. We've got a lot going on. We have a lot of needs. I mean, this year's like the people that were around, we have a lot of needs too. Because the second part of that, we need the new truck, we need the new refrigerator, and we need a new driveway. If you haven't ever driven through our driveway and pretty much lost your vehicle in the big pothole, you understand. So, but you know what? We just believe God is going to provide, and I hope by the end of 2023, all these projects are done. They're the base projects to make our location safe, so that people think. I mean, that's number one, so people don't get hurt, and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again next month.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh no, I like having you on the show because it keeps me in touch with what's going on and the serious needs in our community. We need to know what's going on.
Yes.
That maybe our lives are going as they go, but some people are having a really hard time,
They really are.
And we need to, be cognizant of that.
Next month, I'm going to try to remember to bring the number of people who applied for financial assistance.
That's you. Well,
and what that amount would have been had we paid it all. I'm just kind of curious. That'll be an interesting one. We compare it to last January.
Okay. And I'll remind you when we get in contact in a few weeks.
I'm going to make some notes here so I don't forget all these things that I just
And
told
I'll try to keep a
do.
better grip on my own schedule so we won't be having to go through all that.
That was all right.
Well, thank you for what you do. Thank you for
you.
what Harvest House does.
Yeah.
And so share this with your
Thanks
friends.
for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
All righty, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to have William Carlson on to talk about AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I have no idea.
It's scarier than heck.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Okay, bye-bye.